Hello and welcome to Bespoke. My name's Paul Anthony.
I'm CP.
And today we're looking at the luxury humidor selection that we'll come with. So what do we consider to be luxury here at Bespoke in a shop?
Over $500.
So we're looking at humidors that are in and around over 500. So we're looking at your Crown, Diamond Crown, Daniel Marshall's, Ellie Blue. We're looking at your Davidoffs. We're looking at stuff. So the Davidoffs are like a couple of grand. You're looking at $500-600. Ellie Blues, you're looking at 3, 5, 10,000, whatever it may be. So we're in that kind of higher end space, and the purpose of this video is to really explore, you know, the pros and cons of why would you potentially buy a luxury humidor, and then, you know, maybe why you wouldn't want to buy a luxury humidor. So,
exactly. And this can go quite deep in the rabbit hole, because when you go into luxury, you can also go into cabinets, you can go to electronic climate controls. You can also go into walk-in humidors, which is another beast of its own.
You know, so I know Nat Sherman, I read their book, and one of the services they used to offer, I'm not sure if they do, if anyone knows if they do, please comment below, that they used to actually go into people's homes and design furniture and or rooms, and I think they even mentioned in the book wings of houses into humidors. So I know this wing of my house, which is the Bespoke in the studio, unfortunately is not a humidor at this point. But you know, so when we talk about humidors, we're not just talking about wooden desktop humidors like we actually have on display here at Charles-Philippe. We're talking about any sort of climate controlled environment that keeps a particular temperature and or relative humidity, and the relative humidity is probably the more important thing to be aware of when we're talking about humidors. It's really just a microclimate that we're keeping, in this case, cigars in so they can be smoked optimally. So relative humidity, there's video links below where we talk about what is RH, where to store cigars at, you know, 70%, 65%, 62, New World, Old World, all that stuff, but we're kind of just focusing on, you know, why would you want to buy a luxury humidor? So
that's a really good question to start with, because at the end of the day, if you really want an airtight seal, you could probably get that from a cooler door or tupper door, or even Boveda bags for $15. So why would you want one of these? I
think when you're looking to, you know, I think this is like an investment into one of your passions, you know. So if you're going at the $2,000 range for something like this from, you know, Davidoff, like, it's not an economically sound decision if you're looking at a raw number of cigars you keep, airtight seal. Does it regulate temperature? No. But it's a piece of artwork. Yeah,
there's a whole story behind it, the craftsmanship. For example, the Davidoff one is made by what was awarded by the French government. So it's made in France entirely by hand by what is known as an EPV, which is Entreprise de Patrimoine Vivant, which means a living heritage company, and only a few companies in France are awarded this by the state for brands or even workshops that value traditional methodology and manufacturing processes.
So the ones we see in front of us, these are functional pieces of furniture. So whether you have an office that's like clad in wood, this will be great. I've got more contemporary styling in my house and at my office. So I have this version with the Union Jack on, and it's kind of that pop of color in a kind of a more modern, you know, black and white, more stark environment, you know. Exactly. So again, they're talking pieces, you know, conversation pieces, they're pieces of artwork that also serve a function, which people can see into your hobby. So, you know, being brothers of the leaf or whatever you want to call it, you know, this shows that we actually take time and care and invest in our cigars. Would I have, you know, my 1,200 cigars in desktop humidors? No, because I think there are many cons to desktop humidors and like wooden humidors in general.
I'm about a video of that.
But the pros are that they, you know, they can impart, you know, the wooden smell onto the cigar. They're obviously very attractive to look at, you know, and they're convenient in an office or a home environment where you may be sharing them, you know, with friends and family.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
I mean, these are also heirloom pieces, where a cooler door, given that it's made out of plastic, will eventually degrade. Tupper door as well. Even a Boveda bag is designed to be used for a year. So something like this, how many decades are we looking at? Generations potentially.
Yeah, I know, you know, people have humidors that are decades and decades old. You know, I believe Shankin, the guy who owns Cigar Aficionado, he has a vintage collection of humidors, one of which was actually owned by Winston Churchill.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, which is pretty amazing. Awesome. So, I mean, he's obviously going to pass it down to his family, and if maintained properly, you can have, you know, cigars forever, and there's no reason why you can't have. I know when I was at Dunhill in London, they've got cigars there that are 100 years old because they've been stored optimally. And if you look after the wood and you look after the piece itself, these luxury, you know, humidors are going to last that long as well.
But even if the generation below us doesn't have the same appreciation of cigars, these are still incredible craftsmanship for a chest that can be used for many other things. So it will be passed down for generations as an artwork in itself, and not necessarily as a cigar humidor, but even though that's what it was designed for originally.
Sure, so I know we're going to have a lot of comments and questions below where people are like, this is ridiculous, why are you spending $2 grand, why are you spending $500, why are you spending $5 grand? Everyone's got their passion in life. We could talk about why does someone buy a $7,000 pair of bespoke shoes when you can go and buy, you know, a Nike running sneaker for $100?
Why buy a Bentley when you can buy a Renault?
Why buy a Rolex or a Patek Philippe or a Vacheron Constantin or, you know, Audemars Piguet, you know, when you could just buy a Quartz Casio? Like, we're not just talking about items here that serve the base minimum function. If not, we would just get a Boveda humidor bag or an airtight Tupperware container, throw that on the side and dip into the cigars whenever we needed them. Exactly. However, we're taking it to a much different level when we're getting into these luxury humidors, creating a lifestyle and a functional piece of furniture that we can use. So, I mean, the downside, cost. That's probably the big reason, you know, why. I mean, you're not in an well, with these ones you're not in an airtight container, but I know you know those big chest humidors, the ones we saw. We went to a cigar lounge local to me in Philadelphia yesterday, and they had, what was it, the Theodore? Was it the?
They had the Reagan, which is a 5,000 count double door electronically powered. It's an externally powered cabinet, glass cabinet, and then you have the Remington, which is a single column, 2,500 cigars, I believe. Yeah. Which is pretty much the same design, but it's just half the size.
You know, I think when you're like storing cigars en masse like that, you've really got to consider like those units there are going to cool the environment as well. Again, these desktop ones aren't. So I'm lucky that I have a basement here at my house, and that never gets above 65 degrees in the summer, so I don't have to worry about cooling elements. Although at my office, I actually have a like cigar fridge to, you know, bring that temperature down. I mean, that's touching the luxury price range, although it's still only, you know, $400 for a 250 count solution, which is relatively cheap considering it's got that cooling element in there as well.
Yeah, so, I mean, we do have, for example, cigar coolers like that are covered in, by the way, there is the best, our favorite recommendations if you're looking for which ones to buy, if you have the means. We do have a guide which is in the description below, and there are cigar coolers included in that, as well as cabinets and desktop humidors.
So you can go to bespokeunit.com/cigars to see all of that.
Exactly.
So I know this is more of a conversational topic because luxury is definitely subjective. If you're a guy that's making 25 grand a year getting into cigars, you know, when we were first getting into cigars, like, we were mainly interested in the value of the cigar itself. You know, as you get a little bit older and maybe you get a little bit more means, you know, you're going to change in your storage solutions and maybe the cigars you're smoking. And then maybe if you're a, you know, a very wealthy individual and you make several $1 million a year, then you're really looking for the aesthetics, you know. And obviously with this level of quality humidor, you're also getting a different level of performance with the airtight nature of the seals. With that being said, none of these luxury humidors come with any good source of humidification, which is why we actually recommend using Boveda in them. And you know, they either come with no hygrometer or analog hygrometers or relatively inexpensive digital hygrometers. So again, we would recommend using a calibrated digital hygrometer such as the Sigsaw, the Sensor Push, or the Boveda Butler. We have links in the description below, and they're really nice because they're all smart ones where you can actually check them on your phone. You don't actually have to open the humidor to then kind of shock that in that relative humidity environment, whether it's one of these desktop ones, a cabinet, a fridge, or some of the larger like airtight Tupperware containers I have in my basement right now, which are, you know, 20 gallons and hold like 20 boxes plus each. I don't have to open and close them and disturb that environment. So again, luxury is all relative to what we potentially earn and also what value we see in our own hobbies as well. So, you know, I'm a watch guy, I see value in a watch where you may not. You're a champagne guy, you may see value in a different cuvee compared to me, you know. So everyone's got their thing. Again, we're not doing this to, you know, say to people, oh, like, you're not a real cigar smoker unless you have an Ellie Blue. You know, I got many of my cigars in, like, you know, Tupperdoors and, you know, but fortunate enough, I have the means, and I really like this piece, and I've purchased it, and it's a piece of functional artwork in my home.
Yourself.
I treated myself, so you know. But you know, with all that being said, love to hear your comments and questions below. If you think of the pros and cons of buying a luxury stroke expensive humidor and humidification solution for your cigars. Please like the video if you did so. Any final comments, Shoal?
If you have any comments about any brands that we may have not mentioned, we're always looking to discover new storage solutions, so please feel free to tell us about things you know that you think we should know too.
So the top ones, we've got Diamond Crown.
Diamond Crown, which is entry level. We've got here, this is Ardoni.
Ardoni, yeah. Then we have
Ardononi.
Ardononi.
It's
in the description below. We have the Davidoff, we have like the Xenos as well, we have the Daniel Marshalls. You know, these ones I think are made in China.
Yeah.
These are France, this is French, along with the early blue, and then we have some US options as well.
So the Daniel Marshall is still made in Santa Ana, California, and they have been doing it since 1982, whereas American Chest Company, which is a relatively new brand, very interesting. They make their humidors in Rhode Island by Amish craftsmen. And the guy who founded that company used to work for Howden Reed, but when Howden Reed moved their production to China, he wanted to preserve the domestic US production, and so he founded American Chess Company. Very interesting brand to look out for.
So again, we'll do the second extra. So if you do know of any other great brands that you want us to feature here on the channel or on bespokeuNit.com, please let us know in the comments below. Finally, if you do like these videos, please subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification, because there are many more cigar videos coming out, as well as videos around many other men's lifestyle topics. With that being said, my name's Paul Anthony.
I'm CP.
And we'll see you next time.
Take care.